You know that feeling? It's always like a Tuesday morning. You've been down for a week with some nasty bug. You wake up, the fever's gone, the headache is gone. You look in the mirror and you think, okay, I'm back.
Mm-hmm. The all-clear signal.
Exactly. You check your email, maybe you even pack your gym bag. You feel fine.
We've all been there.
Right. But here's the question that this research really made me ask. Are you actually recovered, or are you just numb to what's really going on inside?
That's a perfect way to frame it. We have this ingrained idea that health is just the absence of symptoms. If I'm not coughing, I must be well.
If there's no fever, I'm good to go.
Precisely. But the research we're diving into today, this massive prospective cohort study out of Israel, it suggests that for certain illnesses, your brain's assessment of I'm fine might be, well, a dangerous lie.
A lie your body's telling you just so you'll get back to the grind.
Essentially, yes. We're looking at a study that pits what they call subjective recovery. So how you feel against digital recovery, which is what your biology is actually doing.
So your feelings versus the data.
And the gap between those two things, that's where it gets a little scary.
Spoiler alert, your feelings lose badly.
It's not just that they lose, it's how they lose. The study shows that depending on what virus you caught, you might be wrong about your recovery by a factor of days.
Or even more.
Or even months.
Yeah. So let's set the stage. Because usually when we cover medical studies, it's a snapshot. You know, we looked at 50 people for a week. This was not that.
No, not at all. This was a huge undertaking. A 2-year project with nearly 4,800 participants. And the key thing here is they didn't just grab sick people and compare them to healthy strangers.
Which is the big flaw in a lot of studies, right? My healthy heart rate is different from your healthy heart rate.
Exactly. So in this study, every single participant was their own control group. They tracked these people for years, from November 2020 to May 2023, to build a personal baseline for each one.
So they knew what normal looked like for person A before they ever got sick?
That's it. So when person A caught COVID, or the flu, or strep, the researchers could track exactly how far their body drifted from their own baseline, and this is the crucial part, how long it took to come back.
And they did this with smartwatches, just regular off-the-shelf smartwatches.
Yep, commercially available ones. They were tracking passive data, specifically things like resting heart rate and heart rate variability, or HRV.
Okay, let's pause on HRV for a second. I feel like it's a buzzword everyone sees on their watch, but nobody really knows what it means. I know higher is better, but why?
Think of HRV as a measure of your body's flexibility, or its readiness. It measures the tiny variations in time between each heartbeat. If you're stressed, sick, inflamed, in that fight or flight mode, your heart beats like a metronome, very rigid.
Okay, so rigid is bad. Rigid means your body is under stress.
Correct. But when you're recovered, relaxed, resilient, your heart is responsive. It speeds up just a little when you inhale, slows down when you exhale. That's high variability. So digital recovery in this study was defined as, when does your heart rate and your HRV get back to that flexible, relaxed, pre-sickness state?
So the whole setup is, you get sick, you tell an app, I have a fever, the clock starts, then you tell the app, I feel better, and the subjective clock stops.
Right.
But the smartwatch just keeps watching to see when your heart actually calms down.
And the results? Well, they pretty much upend the standard advice of just listen to your body.
Let's start with the big one then, COVID-19. This is where the gap was just shocking.
It really was. So the researchers split the data into mild and moderate to severe cases. And moderate here doesn't mean you're in the ICU. It just means you had significant symptoms like a high fever, but you were still recovering at home.
And for the mild cases, the story was pretty unremarkable.
Reassuring, I'd say. For mild COVID, people said they felt better around day 8 or 9. Their digital recovery, their heart rate normalizing, actually happened a bit earlier, around day 7.
So your body bounced back a day faster than your brain caught up. You still felt crummy, but your heart was already fine.
Exactly. The physiology and the perception were pretty much in sync.
Yeah.
But then we look at the moderate to severe cases.
This is the number that just made me stop reading. I think I highlighted it 3 times.
It definitely gets your attention. So this group, the moderate to severe one, they reported feeling better, symptom-free, at around day 12.
12 days. A standard 2-week illness. You take 2 weeks off work, you feel okay, you go back.
Right. But their digital recovery, their physiological return to baseline, that didn't happen until day 60.
60, as in 60.
On average, 60.23 days.
Wait, I just want to make sure everyone listening really gets this. We are talking about a 48-day gap. That's almost 7 weeks where these people felt fine. They're walking around, going to work, maybe exercising.
And internally, their autonomic nervous system was still running a marathon, their resting heart rate was elevated, their HRV, that resilience metric, was suppressed. They were in a state of high physiological stress for 2 months, and they were completely unaware of it.
But why? I mean, what's happening in the body for those 48 days? If the virus is gone, why is the heart still freaking out?
That is the million-dollar question in immunology right now.
Yeah.
This study really it visualizes the roots of what we call long COVID. We know this virus isn't just a respiratory bug. It affects the vascular system, the nervous system.
So it's like the war is over, but the city is still on fire.
That's a fantastic analogy. The immune system has cleared the virus, but the cleanup crew, the inflammation response, the tissue repair, it's all working overtime. And that takes energy. It puts a huge load on your system.
And that's where the danger is, because if I feel fine on day 14 and I go smash a high-intensity workout,
You're adding a massive amount of stress to a system that is already redlining. You wouldn't drive a car that's overheating just because the smoke stopped pouring out from under the hood, would you?
no, you'd check the temperature gauge.
And in this case, the smartwatch is the temperature gauge. But we've all been trained to ignore it. Or worse, to just use it for performance.
Did I close my rings?
Right. Did I hit my step goal?
Yeah.
We treat them as coaches, pushing us to do more. This study suggests that, for recovery, we should be using them as guardians, telling us to do less.
It's a total paradigm shift. But this is where the study gets really weird, because if it was just sick people take a long time to heal, that would be one thing. But they compared it to the flu and strep throat, and the results were completely backward.
This was the twist. This is what really showed the unique nature of COVID. When they looked at influenza, the pattern just flipped.
Walk us through the flu numbers.
For mild flu cases, the digital recovery, the heart getting back to normal, took only about 2.5 days.
2.5 days? That seems incredibly fast.
Biologically, yes. Your heart stabilizes very quickly. But, and this is the kicker, the participants reported feeling sick for about 8 days.
So with the flu, I'm lying on the couch feeling like I got hit by a truck, but my heart is actually doing fine.
For the most part, yes. Your
Mhm.
perception of the illness, that sickness behavior, it lingers much longer than the actual physiological stress on your cardiovascular system.
Wow.
Even with the moderate flu cases, digital recovery was around day 8, while people felt sick until day 12.
So why the difference? Why does severe COVID make us feel fine when we're actually broken, but the flu makes us feel broken when we're basically fine?
It likely comes down to something called sickness behavior, which is driven by cytokines. When you have the flu, your body releases this storm of signaling proteins that basically tell your brain, be sad, be tired, don't move. It's an evolutionary defense
So
mechanism.
the whole man flu thing is actually real. It's just cytokines yelling at you.
It's very real biological signaling. With the flu, that signal is loud and clear, even if the underlying stress on the heart is short-lived. With severe COVID, for some reason, that signal seems to shut off way too early. The brain thinks all clear, but the rest of the system is still struggling.
And then there was strep throat. I saw the data for that, and I thought it had to be a typo.
It's pretty striking. For mild strep, the digital recovery number was actually negative.
Negative recover.
Oh.
How do you recover before you even feel better?
It was negative 1.12 days
Mm.
relative to when they said their symptoms were gone, meaning their heart rate and HRV went back to baseline a full day before they even told the app they felt better.
It's the exact opposite of the COVID situation.
Completely. With severe COVID, you are flying blind into a storm you don't even know is there. With strep and the flu, your body is effectively tricking you into resting a little longer than you might strictly need to, at least from a cardiovascular standpoint.
Which honestly isn't the worst thing in the world. Resting an extra day when you're healthy is just boring. But exercising when you're secretly inflamed for 7 weeks, that could be really dangerous.
Precisely. The flu disconnect protects you. The COVID disconnect exposes you to risk.
Okay, so this brings us to the behavior part of the study, because they didn't just watch the heart rates, they watched what people did.
The behavioral trap, as they call it. They track daily steps, active calories, all of it.
And I'm guessing as soon as people felt better, they...
The correlation was almost perfect. The moment a participant reported being symptom-free on that app, their activity levels snapped right back to their pre-sickness baseline.
boom, back to the grind.
Immediately. Steps went up, active calories went up, they just resumed their normal lives.
Which, for the flu group, is probably fine, maybe even good for them.
Right. If your heart is recovered, Getting moving might even help. But for that moderate to severe COVID group,
They went back to their normal routine on day 12.
while their bodies were in a state of high stress until day 60,
So for 48 days, they're commuting, dealing with work stress, lifting weights, all while their internal metrics are flashing red.
and the authors suggest this premature return to activity might be a major factor in why some people develop complications. We're forcing a compromised system to perform at peak capacity.
It just completely changes how you think about recovery. It's not a switch you flip from sick to healthy.
Yeah.
It's a long, slow curve.
And it's a curve that's invisible without the data. You have no way of knowing where you are on that curve. You're just guessing.
So what are the implications here? I mean, we all live by these rules of thumb. Stay home for 5 days, wait 24 hours after the fever breaks.
That famous 5-day rule, if you look at this data, especially for those severe COVID cases, 5 days is woefully insufficient from a physiological perspective.
It's not just insufficient, it feels almost negligent. If you send an employee back to a physically demanding job on day 6 when their HRV is still in the gutter.
You could be contributing to long-term issues. The study posits this really interesting future where your return to work date isn't set by a calendar, but by your data.
A digital doctor's note.
Exactly. Imagine the advices. Do not resume high-intensity activity until your HRV returns to your personal baseline. For the flu, that might be 3 days. For a bad case of COVID, it could be 3 weeks or 6 weeks.
That sounds incredible, but I can already hear the employers groaning. You want 6 weeks off because your watch says you're stressed.
It's a valid tension. But you have to flip it around. If that person comes back on day 10, burns out, makes mistakes because of brain fog, or develops a chronic condition that takes them out for 6 months, what was the real cost? Powering through might be the most expensive option.
So let's make this practical for everyone listening. Millions of people have these devices on their wrists right now. How should they change their behavior after hearing this?
First thing is, your baseline matters. If you don't wear your watch while you sleep, you should start. You need to know what your normal resting heart rate and HRV look like when you're healthy, so you have something to compare it to.
Okay, step 1. Establish your baseline. Because if I don't know my normal is 55, I won't realize that 65 is a red flag.
Exactly. Step 2. When you do get sick, especially with something like COVID, don't trust your mood as the only indicator. When that fever breaks and you feel that surge of, I'm back,
Yeah.
check the data.
So if my resting heart rate is still 10 beats higher than usual, even if I feel like I could run a marathon.
You wait, you take it easy. You go for a walk, not a sprint. You prioritize sleep. You treat your recovery as a marathon, not a sprint, because that disconnect is real. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away.
It's funny, we always say listen to your body, but this study is almost saying don't listen to your body, it's lying to you, listen to your watch.
Or maybe listen to your body's whispers, which are in the data, not its shouts, which are the symptoms. The symptoms are just the loud part. The healing is quiet.
The healing is quiet. I like that. It validates that feeling that just because you're not puffing doesn't mean your body isn't working hard.
And on the flip side, if you have the flu and you feel awful on day 10, maybe you look at your watch. If your metrics are back to normal, it might give you the confidence to say, okay, this is just a chemical residue. I'm actually safe to get up and move a little. It provides an objective truth.
Right. It removes some of that anxiety of, am I getting worse? Is this ever going to end? The data gives you a roadmap.
It anchors you in reality. And in an age where we have more insight into our own biology than ever before, it just seems foolish not to use it.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought on this. We've established that our feelings are unreliable. We've established that the 5-day rule is a pretty blunt instrument.
Right.
So here's the question. We accept that pilots shouldn't fly if they're fatigued. We have mandatory rest periods for truck drivers. In the future, should fit for work become a legal status that's determined by your biometric data? If your HRV is tanked, should you be, banned from the office for your own good?
That's a provocative thought. It's intrusive, but from a pure public health standpoint, it might save lives.
The ultimate clash between our privacy and our biology, something to think about next time your watch tells you to stand up. Thanks for diving in with us.
Stay healthy and keep an eye on that data.